Pablo Mayor, it is wonderful to speak with you today and to be working with you. You are a composer, an educator, a player, I'm sure many more things. So maybe we'll start with you introducing yourself.
My name is Pablo Mayor. I was born in a small town called Palmira, Colombia, which is actually where my family came from, although my parents were living in Bogota. My father was already working in Bogota, and it was close to Christmas time, so my mom didn't want to have her baby in Bogota. She wanted to be with the family, so I was born in Palmira, very close to the city of Cali in Colombia.
One of the questions I always ask artists is if you grew up in a musical household and in your childhood, did that speak to you early or did music come later in life?
Music was in my house all the time in the radio. My father is a lawyer, my mom is a bacteriologist. If there was any connection, apparently my grandfather played the guitar, but I never knew about it until very late. I gravitated to music. It was in the radio, it was in the LPs, a variety of LPs that my father would get as presents in Christmas time with jazz music and classical music, folkloric music. And that was, to me, I was always gravitating to the stereo and playing music, and that's how I'm an avid listener. And then I come from a family of dancers, people who every weekend will get together as families and dance, and I became their DJ. I went through all the process from music that was to dance, from folkloric music from Colombia, and then the music after drink, when they are tired and they start drinking, and then all these sad songs, and I was exposed to all of these.
Do you remember the first song or some of the first songs you listened to on the radio?
I would remember artists, music from Armando Manzanero, from Julio Iglesias, from Frank Sinatra, of course. The music of Duke Ellington, I was exposed, and then Lucho Bermudez from Colombia, American music as well was part of my upbringing. From the Bee Gees, and
sure.
Of course Michael Jackson when I was a teenager.
I ask because your music is a fusion of so many different genres and styles. I imagine you were influenced early on.
Always very attracted to anything, everything that was different. It was I was in love with Brazilian. I still in love with Brazilian music for a long time, exploring and looking, and then all the dance music. But I had friends from elementary and middle school who play instruments, and that was very attractive to me. I have to say this because it's part of my life. The marriage of my parents didn't work out, so it was a painful period in a way. And music became to me it allowed me to focus and to find a lot of joy. And I gravitated to the friends who play instruments, and one day I just took a piano and I started playing. And it was a revelation. I shared that with my parents, and they gave me instruments to play, and I started to play by ear. I would just play all the music that I used to play for the family. I started playing it, and then when I was probably 16, I was passing by Sears stores, and there was somebody playing organ at the time, the ones with pedals and rhythms, and I was with a friend, and this friend said, "Hey, let him play, that he knows how to play." And I sat and I started playing with the other person, and they hired me. And it was something good for me. I started playing Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays at Sears stores. I would play for around 4 hours, and I would get crowds of people, and the sales went up, and I started to play for first communions and weddings. And it was funny because they would hire me because they didn't want dancing, and I knew all the dance tunes, and I would always make people dance. So it's just was part of what I liked to do, and I was good at it.
I have so many questions. I want to go. So it sounds like music was like a form of therapy
Totally.
at that time.
Still.
Still, yes. In your other interviews I've listened to, you talk a lot about love and how that is part of music.
Love is God. That's when I think when you put the phrase like that, it breaks all the barriers, because everyone has something or somebody to love, and when you have those good intentions, things happen. Good things happen.
Yeah. Also, did you say that your father was a lawyer and your mother was a bacteriologist?
Yes.
That's wild, because those are very analytical, minds.
Yes. It's curious. My brother, he's also he drew. He's an incredible architect.
Mm.
We both went. I think creativity needs silence, and we had silence. We had a lot of moments where you have to sit and use your time the way you like. And to me, it was music. To my brother, it was drawing.
Do you consider yourself more of primarily a composer or a performer and player, or both?
I think it's both. I'm still hard on myself when I play. I'm still trying to to improve, and I see all my I'm always searching for the way to improve in my playing, and I get to write more music more frequently, I guess. Maybe I have pushed myself even harder to my writing, because I like the conception of pieces. I like to be able to imagine the perfect performance with the perfect, and sometimes at the gig you have that, but music has changed so much now. People used to play more.
Yeah.
In the past.
Yes.
You used to be part of your band, and you develop with a specific group of people, you develop the sound. I'm still very stubbornly attempting to do that. I have a core of musicians that I try to keep, to try to look for that. But to answer your question, yes, I have pushed in my writing, and now in producing more attention at this point, maybe. Maybe next week you'll see me playing, and I'll be practicing, for a long time. It's always, it's hard. You have to keep leveling and doing. And musicians now, we do everything. We produce, we're more involved. There are no record labels. There are very few. When you have to, they do a lot of things for you. Now we produce, we create the whole press kit. We communicate, we manage, and that takes time.
Yes. Do you conceive of music, because of both roles, as something that is arranged and composed? And here's what I am asking. I heard a quote, or someone described that in music there's two personas. When you're composing, it's so lonely and quiet. So you say silence, and then when you offer it in playing, it's this public,
more
extroverted.
I'm more introverted.
That is more Pablo.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm always conceiving, I'm always thinking about pieces. And sometimes I tease my kids, because I talk about, I make a living being in the clouds. I'm writing for the band. I'm writing for different projects, and it's always, listening to a story, listening to a message, creating a song, and trying to find the notes that match the feeling, and that requires that you're in the clouds.
I love that phrasing of being in the clouds. What was the first instrument that brought you there when you began playing?
I want to say piano, but no, I think percussion was the first. It's been always there is a connection with the tambor, with percussion. It's been always, something that I have been attracted. I love everything that has to do with Africa and with the rhythms that develop in the Americas with the African influence, and then the Spanish and the native. It's been always, something that attracts me so much, and sometimes I arrive and look the way I look, and it's like I'm not the common drummer or the common person who is doing this. I look more like different style of different styles of music, but that's what I love, and the dance that is attached to it.
I was going to say, I wonder if the connection to dance and rhythm fuels the...
Very much.
Yes, the sensibility
I
of...
dance all my life, and I still, like to do it. And there is always the desire to create music that will make people want to dance.
Yes.
To me, that's a gift.
You mentioned Michael Jackson, and he, some people start with lyrics and some people start with chords, and they say he's always started with beats. He would come in, yeah.
Yeah, and so many times that's the source. Sometimes it is a melody, sometimes it is a story. With this song that we talk about, No Te Vayas, the story it was an interesting song because I thought about the singer for this song. And it had an element of really expressing something. The melody came at once. It was one of those things. Sometimes you could spend even years trying to work on a melody, but this one came. It was like it was done. It was put there, and that happened with one of the persons that I collaborate, Nick Chavarria. I sent it to him, and it didn't take that long. I think it was next day. He's like, "Look, this is what came," and there was a match. It was like the Ellington Strayhorn magic moment. Yes. when you find something that agrees with both, that both artists are breathing the same. They wanted to express it the same. Yeah, that's what happened with this song. It varies. Sometimes it's the story. Sometimes it's something that really touches me about a story, and the music comes easily. Sometimes you have to work hard.
Yes. I have two questions on your process. Sometimes when we speak to artists, they'll say creativity comes 2 a.m. I'll be very quiet for weeks, and then other artists will say, every day I go to the gym of songwriting and I force myself. And I'm curious if one of those styles is closer to your approach, or is it maybe different?
It's both.
It's both.
And another more. But right now, I'm in the process actually with Nick to create hooks. Let's bring a melody or a phrase that you think could be repeated many times and that could guide us to. We have guide us to a song. We have practiced that many times. Sometimes, as Duke Ellington would say, give me a deadline, and that's probably the way I work best.
Yeah.
When do you need this by? And if I don't sleep, I don't sleep.
Yes.
But it has to be there. And then I talk about the search for the moment of when you get in the zone.
Flow.
Yeah, when things just happen. I have a 16-year-old and a 10-year-old, so that sometimes it's hard with all the things that are happening all the time, but sometimes I get up very early. I tend to do that more than before, which I used to stay until 3 a.m., but then the next day you're like, yeah. So it's better to attempt to do it in the morning, and it works. But yeah, it's the deadline is one of the best.
Do you think the song that we're working on now together with this experience is a kind of love song? Is a love song? And do you think you need to have, what did someone say, like heartbreak is the fuel for great music, Or can you put yourself sometimes in personas?
Oh, I've been in
Yeah.
It applies. All of them apply.
Yes.
It's like sometimes a memory, sometimes or you see the case in somebody, a friend or somebody. So yeah, that is sometimes the feeling. The reason I like this song is that I had a very positive feeling when the music came out and the lyrics matched that feeling. That's I said, I want to deliver this song, and the hope is that Nick and I will be able to make somebody feel what we have felt with the creation of this song.
I want to come back to this song, but first, one of the reasons that I'm so excited to work with you is that you have a long and established career, a very successful career. When did you come to New York from Colombia?
Well, before New York, I'm just going to go back.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go back mentioning the song just for one reason. This song combines 2 different rhythms. One is called Aguabajo Song. Aguabajo Song It's a rhythm from the Pacific coast of Colombia, and aguabajo means going down the river flow, aguabajo. So it's a rhythm that is really, it has this relaxation in it. It is very calm. But right now I have seen many artists combining this rhythm with the rhythm of salsa. And salsa, the city of Cali is very close to a port called Buenaventura, 3-hour drive. And through Buenaventura, a lot of Cuban music came in. And so the influence of Cuba and salsa music is so strong. It came all the way to Cali. For Colombians, Cali is the capital of salsa. And I have seen the mix of this rhythm of aguabajo with salsa music. So it comes with this, with the intention of having something romantic. The rhythm of aguabajo is used to express a lot of feelings. So I'm trying to be part of this. I grew up in Cali, Colombia. I started in high school working. One day I graduated from high school and I said, I think I'm gonna study music. And it took me 5 years in Cali, playing in every band, looking, searching for people who could teach me because I was attracted to jazz music and it was one teacher. And then I play all dance music, salsa music, Colombian music, Dominican music, ballad, romantic music. And then one day I said, I need to leave because nothing is gonna happen. It's time for me to leave. And doors just opened. And I was able to be at University of North Texas in Denton, where I did my bachelor's and my master's degrees. I played, I discovered my deficiencies in the music, and I worked really hard, very hard, to accomplish my classes, since I had so many people who, that I saw that studied classical piano all their lives, and then I was exposed to it for the first time. It took a lot of work, and I succeeded, and I became a TA, and
you studied music?
Yeah, I studied music, jazz arranging. It was my focus. It was going to be a jazz performance, but I had a lot of classical piano that I needed to do, and that will take, for 2.5 years, it took almost 8 hours a day of just piano. So I will just take my regular jazz classes, and something beautiful happened. I wrote something and I got a reaction. So I didn't know I had that gift, and I started to do it. So
magic.
That became an outlet from practicing so much classical to arriving fresh, to stay up all night, writing music for big band, which was the main format of this university. And I graduated from my master's, and I say, I'm going back to Colombia. I think it's time to do it. But I had met...
something happened.
I graduated in December, but in the summertime, I met this girl, and we danced, and we kind of liked it. And I said to her, look, it's okay. I'm going back to Colombia. I'm done. I'm moving to Colombia. So let's hang out. And we had a beautiful relationship. We had a lot of fun. We said goodbye. I went to Colombia. I called just because I was already a TA, and there was a desire for me to share what I have learned. I called Universidad Javeriana, the university in Bogota, and I said, look, I will teach for a day if you want to teacher for piano, or I have a degree in arranging. And they had lost their director, and they all of the sudden, from student, I was the director of the jazz department in Universidad Javeriana, and I did it for a year. I even taught on Sundays, but I said no. I want to experience being a musician. I'm just passing information. I need to experience it. Anna came to visit me, Anna, which is my wife now, and she said, I'm going to New York, and I'm like, wow, this is an omen. It's just so much coincidence. So I moved to New York, but being in Bogota in that year, in Colombia in that year, allowed me to meet Totó la Momposina, who is one of the most important artist, singer, and folklorist from Colombia. I met her son as well, and it hit me so hard that I said, now I know what I'm going to do with this information that I'm just trying to pass to other people. This is about doing something with the resources of this country. Thousands of rhythms that are there. Very little, people touch them, and because Colombians have been focused on what sells? Salsa sells. Then they're so talented and versatile that they do salsa, they did merengue, they did the music from, now they're doing reggaeton. It's just, but they're always ignoring, folklore comes for Christmas time or for certain periods, but there is so much to work with. So that was my mission, and I came to New York with that. And I found Colombian musicians here, and I started to produce. And we produced a festival because we needed a space for the musicians to play with each other and learn from each other. And suddenly we had people wanting to see that and witness that. And it became a 17-year-old project that is going to come back because it's like waves.
Incredible.
It's movements are like waves, and sometimes people have to just take a moment and then we'll do it again. And it seems like things are cooking in New York again with Colombian music, and I'm excited about that.
How has being an educator informed the way that you compose and perform? Because one of the things that's so wonderful about speaking with you is that you have the music, and then like the roots of a tree, you can go down into the history of how they intersect and geographically where different genres emerged. And I have to imagine that influences your creativity.
Yes, totally. And maybe it's hard not to say that I'm always in the front. I'm an educator. I struggle so much finding information in Colombia. I struggle with the culture of people who still pay more attention about everything that is outside of the country because it's more hip, because it's American or it's European. That there has been always in it the desire for people to find the joy that you could get from finding your identity or finding rhythms that even though you could be from anywhere in the world, there are some things that just touch you. So there are some things that I seen some people from all over the world reacting to music from Colombia in a way that Colombians don't react. And that joy is my hope, that people have the opportunity to experience that. I believe that one day I'm gonna find exactly the music that is going to do the crossover and be able to connect to more people.
Yeah, for sure. And that's part of what I think we're aligned in working together, is bringing the storytelling back to music. Yeah. What do you think is the biggest difference between the music when you arrived in New York and what you see happening today?
Well, there is more technology. The other day I encountered the first music student who doesn't know how to play an instrument. He works with his computer, and it took me some time to, the joy is the same. I don't know if they could understand what it is to play an instrument and produce that sound and feel that joy of when you create with your hands a sound and you interpret in your own way. But still, I see the career of DJs have launched, and you find incredible creativity in many people, and I think it's gonna take whatever it's gonna take. It's a path that humans are gonna take, using technology to manipulate and create. In all music, I miss the importance of the melody, the magic of using harmonies and creating harmonies to portray, to express emotions. And the rhythm is still there.
Yes.
Rhythm is And that's what's happening with this music now. There is a lot of, it's rhythmic, and in rhythms like reggaeton and rap, you have found rhythmic cells that touch millions and billions of people. And that's like tortilla, like Mexican tortilla is a gift that many people, welcome, those rhythms and or that food as something that they want to be part of.
Yes.
So it is different. I continue to study music and I continue to analyze, and there are some things that I understand. I try to incorporate the sounds that I hear and then apply it to my music, and that's right now the job, the project.
Perfect. You mentioned the music scene coming back to life. You're in the middle of a new project, and we've discussed a couple different areas of working together, but what we're doing now is a preview of a track called Vayas. We'll have a bit of a sample and some behind the scenes. I'm curious though, maybe if you could talk about what this song means to you and how it came into being.
I kind of want to call it transition, and it's a transition that has taken some time. I don't have a choice, but I think of myself as those cooking pots that are all day cooking, and people are like smelling and waiting for it because they know or they hope that it's been cooking slowly, so but that is the way I would like to think about this project. The concept of an artist to write or to compose or produces to express himself or herself, or when you do a project thinking about what people could like. It's a gift. People who create music for the masses have the exact measurements to do something. I have many times let myself go for more sophisticated harmonies,
sure,
and maybe lose, some audience because of it. Or I go too jazzy, or I go to something. There is always this question. But it was my expression. That's what I wanted to do. That's what it is. And
of course,
some people highlight this one. This one has. I just got some measurement spoons, and I'm just going very slowly with each one of them to see if I'm able to connect with more people.
This is precise, Pablo. This is yes.
And give the joy that I'm hoping that what the song has given me, that I hope people can get.
You mentioned that, keep me honest, the melody just came to you. Do you remember what the moment was, what you were doing, where that happened?
I do this more often. I just play a record and I just said, what I want joy, and I want something that has a coming feel to it, and I played, and it just came.
Yeah, that's magic.
It has happened a few times. I recognize that one. I remember the room. I remember it was at afternoon. It was sunny outside, but it was like fall or spring because it was sun.
Now this is the first new work since El Barrio during the pandemic.
Yes.
Is this, and that potentially might be something we talk more about, El Barrio, and telling the story.
I'm having an Oreo.
Maybe we keep that in, I don't know. But the question that I was trying to articulate was, is this the beginning of more new work from you?
Yes. And also with the desire of bringing again Colombia, because the Barrio Project, when I came from Colombia to New York, I produced 3 albums with Colombian music in it. And parallel to it, I've been the piano player for Orchestra Broadway. My teaching was about salsa music. So there was a moment when I wanted to express my own ideas on salsa music. So yeah, this project came, El Barrio Project, dedicated to El Barrio,
yes,
a place in New York City with the vitality of New York, but where you have the mix of Cuban, Puerto Rican, Dominican, Mexican, Ecuadorian, Colombians, Costa Ricans, all Latin America next to Harlem, which is Michael Jackson, Barbara Streisand, Diana Ross. It's soul music, it's rap. And I wanted to express that, and it was also a good exercise on collaborating. I collaborated with Nincha Barria, which I am still doing it, with Cruz Chino Melao, an important figure in the 70s in salsa music, with Ricardo Gatro, who comes from the family of a saxophonist who play with the Machito Orchestra, and the Villos Caracas in Venezuela, and who writes tons of songs all the time, and I wanted him as part of this project. Yeah, so now I'm going back to Colombian music, not as something different, but a blend is starting to happen. Salsa music is original from Cuba, but New York is an important aspect of salsa because the name came here, and the mix and the experimentation with these rhythms came not only from other Latin American musicians but also jazz musicians. So New York is important for salsa, and still salsa is happening in New York. So now I'm mixing those two.
Yeah. I think that it's precise, Pablo, but still you're blending different.
My own way of blending it.
Yes, taking these different things together. Do you think music has a unique capacity across cultures to bring these flavors and rhythms and people together in ways that other art forms cannot match?
There is an element of this abstract feeling that many people try to express in words and try to explain, but nothing beats a moment when you hear music and people start to smile and to
move
and to move and to let go of this negative thought, or let go of anger, or let go of fear. Every time I play, that's my hope when I play, that somebody will feel this. And there have been instances where I feel bad because I didn't feel like I play well, or there was a little mistake, and you're beating yourself, and somebody comes and said, "Oh my God, thank you so much for that song. It really made my day." Or that's the profession. That's what we do. We're healers too. And yes, music is that and more.
Yeah, music for sure heals. Would you like to add anything to the story around Nota Vayas? We are going to share a preview. There's more coming soon. Is there anything you would share with your fans?
My only hope is that you're gonna see the lyrics. You're gonna understand what the song is about. The song starts with the guy, begging the lady to stay, not to go home, and to explain, what this relationship is about. But at the end, the song picks up and it becomes a dance song. And I have this image of people dancing in the kitchen when when they're cooking and having, maybe listening and doing a work or ironing, or doing laundry, or going for a run, but with the feeling of something that is intended and has been recorded with much happiness, and is intended to give it to you, the listener, somehow.
Wonderful. Yeah, it's a great track. I know that everyone is excited to hear new music from you, your existing fans and new fans. So thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Jamie.
And hopefully we'll be back together soon.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.